The night it all began, the air felt wrong. Not cold. Not warm. Just heavy, like something invisible was pressing down on the house, seeping into the walls, crawling through the silence. Emma noticed it the moment she stepped into the living room. At first, she thought it was just her imagination. A long day. Too much thinking. Too little rest. But then the banging started. Loud. Sudden. Violent. It echoed through the house like something alive. Bang. Emma froze. Bang. Bang. Her heart skipped a beat as she slowly turned toward the front door. The sound wasn't normal knocking. It wasn't even someone trying to get attention. It sounded desperate. Aggressive. Almost angry. Let us in. Emma flinched hard at the voice. Her breath caught in her throat as she instinctively stepped back. "That's your mother," she whispered, her voice barely holding together. Behind her, Daniel stood still, his entire body tense. His eyes didn't move from the door. Not even for a second. He didn't look surprised. He looked prepared. "She's not stopping," Emma said, her voice trembling now. "Daniel, she's been out there for hours." Another bang shook the door, harder this time, like someone had thrown their full weight against it. Bang. "Daniel," the voice screamed again, louder, sharper. "Open this door right now." Emma felt her chest tighten. This isn't normal. Something's wrong. Daniel finally spoke, but his voice was low, controlled, like he was trying to keep something from breaking inside him. "She's been like this for months." Emma turned to him instantly. "Months? What do you mean months? You told me she just needed a place to stay for a few days." Daniel ran his hand through his hair, avoiding her eyes. "I lied." The word hit harder than the banging. Emma stared at him, disbelief and fear mixing together. "Why would you lie about something like this?" Before he could answer, the sound outside changed. The banging stopped. Completely. The silence that followed was worse. It stretched. It lingered. Then, a soft sound. Crying. Faint at first, then louder. Emma's stomach twisted. She's crying. But before the thought could settle, the crying turned into laughter. Low. Broken. Unstable. Emma felt her skin crawl. "Daniel," she whispered, stepping closer to him. "Did you hear that?" He nodded slowly. "She does that." Emma looked at him, her fear turning into confusion. "What do you mean she does that?" Daniel hesitated, his jaw tightening. "She changes." Another silence followed. Longer this time. Heavier. Emma shook her head slightly. No, this doesn't make sense." "She's your mother." Daniel finally looked at her. And, for the first time, she saw fear in his eyes. "She's not the same person anymore." Outside, nothing moved. No footsteps. No voice. Just stillness. Emma swallowed hard. Maybe she left. Before the words fully came out, a voice spoke from the other side of the door. Soft. Calm. Too calm. "Emma." Emma froze. Her entire body locked up. "How does she know I know you're in there," the voice continued gently. "I can hear you breathing." Emma's breath stopped instantly. Daniel stepped in front of her. "Don't say anything." But it didn't matter. "You think locking me out will fix things?" the voice whispered. The tone shifted. Subtle. But dark. "You were warned." Emma felt her hands start to shake. What does she mean? Daniel closed his eyes briefly, like he was bracing himself. "I told her this would happen." "Told her what?" Emma asked, her voice rising. "That if she didn't stop, I'd have no choice." "No choice about what?" Daniel didn't answer. Outside. Footsteps. Slow. Dragging. Moving away from the door. Emma listened carefully, her heart pounding. "Daniel, she's leaving." For a moment, relief flickered inside her. Then, a loud crash echoed from the back of the house. Glass shattered. Something heavy slammed. Emma screamed. "She's inside." Daniel didn't hesitate this time. He grabbed Emma's hand and pulled her toward the kitchen. "Stay behind me." They moved quickly, but every step felt slow. Heavy. The air felt thicker now. Harder to breathe. When they reached the kitchen, Emma stopped cold. The back door was wide open. The lock wasn't just broken. It was destroyed. Twisted metal hung loose, though it splintered outward like something had forced its way in, not carefully, not intelligently, but with raw, unnatural strength. "That's not possible," Emma whispered. A cold breeze drifted into the house. And with it, a sound. Soft. Steady. Breathing. Not theirs. Emma felt her chest tighten. "Daniel," she whispered. But he was already looking ahead. Toward the hallway. Emma followed his gaze slowly. And that's when she saw her. Margaret. Standing there. Half in shadow. Not moving. Just watching. Her hair was slightly disheveled. Her clothes looked worn, like she had been outside longer than just a few hours. But it wasn't her appearance that terrified Emma. It was her face. She was smiling. Too wide. Too calm. Too wrong. "You finally let me in," Margaret said softly. Daniel stepped forward slightly. "You broke in." Margaret tilted her head slowly. "No," she said gently. "This is my home." Emma felt a chill spread through her body. "No, this is our house," she said, trying to steady her voice. Margaret's eyes shifted toward her. And instantly, the smile disappeared. Her expression hardened. "You," she whispered. Emma instinctively stepped back. Daniel raised his hand slightly. "Mom, listen." "No," Margaret said quietly. The word carried weight. Heavy. Final. "You brought her here," she continued, her eyes locked on Emma. "You let her take everything." Emma shook her head quickly. "I didn't take anything." "You took my son." Margaret screamed. The lights flickered violently. Emma gasped. Something was wrong. Not just emotionally. Not just mentally. Something deeper. The air shifted again. Like the house itself was reacting. "Mom, stop," Daniel shouted. But Margaret didn't stop. She took a step forward. Then another. Her movements weren't fast. But they weren't normal either. Too smooth. Too controlled. "You think this is your life now," she said softly. "You think you can just replace me? No one is replacing you." Daniel snapped. Margaret laughed. Soft. Broken. "You already did." Emma's heart raced. "Please, just calm down," she said carefully. Margaret's head turned toward her again. Slowly. "You shouldn't speak." Emma froze. The tone in her voice. It wasn't just anger. It was something else. Something colder. Something not human. Before Emma could react, Margaret lunged forward. Fast. Faster than either of them expected. Daniel grabbed Emma and pulled her back instantly. "Run." And this time, Emma didn't hesitate. They ran. Out of the kitchen. Into the living room. Margaret's footsteps echoed behind them. But something felt off. She wasn't chasing them normally. Her steps were steady. Measured. Like she already knew where they would go. "Daniel, she's right behind us." Emma cried. "I know, just keep moving." They reached the staircase. "Upstairs," Daniel said. "Why upstairs?" "There's no other way." They ran up, their footsteps pounding loudly. Behind them, Margaret followed. Slow. Calm. Not rushing. That made it worse. Much worse. They reached the bedroom and slammed the door shut. Daniel locked it quickly. Emma backed away, her hands shaking uncontrollably. "She's going to break this too," she whispered. Daniel looked around quickly. "There's a window." Before he could finish, a soft knock came from the door. Emma froze. Not banging. Not screaming. Just knocking. Tap, tap, tap. Her heart pounded violently in her chest. "Daniel," she whispered. Margaret's voice came through the door. Calm. Gentle. Almost kind. "You don't have to be afraid." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "She's lying." Daniel didn't respond. The doorknob slowly began to turn. Locked. But moving. Emma's breath hitched. How was she doing that? The knocking stopped. Silence returned. Heavy. Unnatural. Then Margaret spoke again. "You should have never locked me out." Crack. A sharp fracture split across the door. Emma screamed. And in that moment, she realized something terrifying. This wasn't going to end by morning. This wasn't going to calm down. This wasn't something they could fix. Because whatever was outside that door, It wasn't just Daniel's mother anymore. And deep down, Emma knew. It had already found a way inside. The crack in the door spread slowly, like a thin vein crawling across the wood, splitting it apart inch by inch. Emma couldn't take her eyes off it. Her breathing became shallow, uneven. Every instinct in her body screamed to move, to run, to do something, but her legs refused to cooperate. "Daniel," she whispered. He didn't respond. He was staring at the door. Not with panic, but with something worse. Recognition. Another crack echoed through the room. The wood bent inward slightly, as if something invisible was pressing against it from the other side. "She's going to get in," Emma said, her voice breaking. Daniel stepped back slowly. "She doesn't need to break it." Emma looked at him. "What do you mean?" Before he could answer, the handle stopped moving. The pressure on the door disappeared. Everything went still. Too still. Emma blinked rapidly. Why did she stop? Daniel didn't speak immediately. His eyes moved slowly toward the corner of the room. Emma followed his gaze, and her stomach dropped. The mirror. Something was wrong with it. At first, it looked normal. Just their reflection, dimly lit by the flickering light. But then, Emma noticed. There were 3 figures in the reflection. Her, Daniel, and someone standing behind them. Emma's breath caught in her throat. "Daniel," she whispered, barely able to form the words. "Don't move." But it was already too late. The reflection shifted. The 3rd figure tilted its head and smiled. Emma spun around. Nothing. The room was empty. Her heart pounded violently. "She's in here. She's already in here." Daniel grabbed her arm. "Listen to me, don't look at the reflections." "What?" "She uses them," he said quickly. "I told you, she changes. She doesn't move like we do." Emma shook her head, panic rising. "That's not possible. Nothing about this is possible." A soft sound came from behind them. Not from the door. From inside the room. Footsteps. Light. Barely audible. Emma felt her chest tighten as she slowly turned her head. The closet door. It was slightly open. And inside, darkness. "Daniel," she whispered. "I see it." The door creaked a little wider on its own. Emma felt tears sting her eyes. No, 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 no. A hand appeared first. Pale. Thin. Gripping the edge of the closet door. Then, Margaret stepped out. Slowly. Like she had been there the whole time. Waiting. Emma stumbled back, hitting the wall. "How did you?" Margaret smiled faintly. "You locked the wrong door." Daniel stepped forward, putting himself between them. "Stay away from her." Margaret's expression changed instantly. Not anger. Not sadness. Something colder. "You still don't understand," she said quietly. "Then explain it." Daniel snapped. "Because this isn't you." Margaret tilted her head slightly. "You're right," she said. And for a second, her voice sounded different. Layered. Like 2 voices speaking at once. Emma felt her stomach twist. "Daniel," she whispered. He didn't move. Margaret took a step closer. "You think I'm the problem," she said softly. "You think I brought this into your life?" Daniel clenched his fists. "You did." Margaret smiled again. Slow. Unsettling. "No," she said. "You did." The room seemed to shift. Emma felt dizzy for a moment, like the ground beneath her wasn't stable anymore. "What does that mean?" she asked. Margaret's eyes moved to her. And this time, there was something inside them. Something dark. Something deep. "You love him," she said. Emma hesitated. "Of course I do." Margaret nodded slowly. "That's why it chose you." Emma's heart skipped. "What?" Daniel shook his head quickly. "Don't listen to her." But Margaret continued. "It feeds on attachment," she said calmly. "On connection. On the things you refuse to let go of." Emma felt her chest tighten. "You're lying." "Am I?" Margaret whispered. The lights flickered again. This time longer. When they studied, Margaret was closer. Too close. Emma hadn't seen her move. "Stay back," Daniel shouted, stepping forward. Margaret didn't stop. "You brought her here," she said to him. "You made the bond stronger." "I was trying to help you." "No," she said softly. "You were trying to save yourself." Emma looked between them, confusion and fear mixing together. What is she talking about, Daniel? He didn't answer. That silence was enough. Emma's stomach dropped. Daniel, what did you do? Margaret smiled faintly. He didn't tell you, she said. Of course he didn't. Stop, Daniel said sharply. But Margaret's gaze stayed fixed on Emma. Ask him, she said. Ask him what happened the night his father died. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. Daniel. He shook his head. Not now. When? Emma snapped. When she kills us? Margaret laughed softly. Kill you, she said. No, that's not how this works. The air grew heavier. Emma could feel it pressing against her chest, making it harder to breathe. It doesn't kill, Margaret continued. It stays. Emma's voice trembled. What stays? Margaret stepped even closer and whispered. It lives inside. Before Emma could react, Daniel grabbed her arm. Move. They rushed past Margaret, pushing out of the bedroom. Emma didn't look back. She couldn't. They ran down the hallway, their footsteps echoing loudly. Where are we going? Emma asked breathlessly. Anywhere but here. Behind them. No footsteps. No chasing. That silence again. It was worse than anything. Why isn't she following us? Emma asked. Daniel didn't respond. They reached the stairs and rushed down. Emma nearly slipped, catching herself at the last second. Careful. I'm trying. They reached the bottom. And stopped. Margaret was already there, standing at the foot of the stairs. Waiting. Emma gasped. That's not possible. You keep thinking in straight lines, Margaret said softly. Doors. Stairs. Distance. She smiled faintly. That's not how this works anymore. Daniel pulled Emma back slightly. Stay behind me. Margaret's gaze locked onto him. You still think you can protect her, she said. I will. No, she replied. You won't. The lights flickered again. And this time, they went out completely. Darkness swallowed the room. Emma couldn't see anything. Her breathing became frantic. Daniel? I'm here. His voice came from somewhere close. A hand grabbed hers. Cold. Too cold. Emma froze. Daniel, she whispered. The hand tightened. Don't let go, the voice said. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. Emma swallowed hard. Say my name, she said. Silence. Then, a whisper. Right next to her ear. Emma. Her blood ran cold. That wasn't Daniel. She screamed and yanked her hand away, stumbling backward. The lights flickered back on. Daniel stood across the room, far from her. Emma? She shook her head violently. Don't come near me. What? Why? That wasn't you. Daniel's face drained of color. He understood immediately. It touched you, he said quietly. Emma's breathing became erratic. What does that mean? Before he could answer, Margaret's voice filled the room again. But she wasn't in front of them anymore. It came from everywhere. You feel it now, don't you? She whispered. Emma clutched her chest. Because she did. Something was wrong. Inside her. A cold, crawling sensation spreading slowly through her body. No, she whispered. Daniel stepped toward her. Emma, listen to me. Stay back, she shouted. I don't know what's happening. Margaret's laughter echoed through the house. It's starting, she said. Emma shook her head desperately. Make it stop. You can't stop it, Margaret replied calmly. Not once it finds you. Daniel grabbed her shoulders. Look at me. Emma hesitated. Look at me, he repeated. She forced herself to meet his eyes. You're still you, he said firmly. Do you hear me? It hasn't taken you. Emma's voice trembled. But I can feel it. I know, he said. That's how it begins. Her heart raced. How do you know that? Daniel hesitated. Just for a second. But it was enough. Emma's eyes widened. Daniel. Margaret's voice cut through the air. Cold. Certain. Because it started with him. Silence filled the room. Emma slowly turned her head toward Daniel. No, she whispered. Daniel didn't deny it. And in that moment, Emma realized something far more terrifying than Margaret, than the house, than the darkness surrounding them. This didn't start tonight. This didn't start with Margaret. It started with him. And whatever was inside this house had been waiting. For her. Emma couldn't breathe. The room felt smaller, tighter, like the walls were closing in around her. Her eyes stayed locked on Daniel. "Say something," she whispered. Daniel didn't. That silence said everything. A cold wave passed through her chest again, deeper this time, like something inside her was waking up, stretching, becoming aware. "You knew," she said, her voice breaking. "This whole time, you knew." Daniel took a slow step toward her. "Emma, listen." "No," she snapped, backing away instantly. "Don't come near me." Her heart pounded violently. Every instinct inside her screamed that something wasn't right, not just around her, but within her. Margaret's soft laughter echoed through the house again. "There it is," she whispered. "The moment it always comes to." Emma pressed her hands against her temples. "Make it stop." "You invited it," Margaret said calmly. "Both of you did." Emma shook her head. "I didn't do anything." "You loved him," Margaret replied. "That's enough." Daniel clenched his fists. "Stop talking." But Margaret's voice didn't fade. It grew clearer. Closer. "I tried to warn you," she continued. "I told you what would happen if you let anyone get too close." Emma's eyes snapped back to Daniel. "What is she talking about?" Daniel swallowed hard. "This didn't start with her," he said quietly. Emma's voice trembled. "Then start talking." For a moment, it felt like even the house was listening. The silence stretched long enough to hurt. Then Daniel spoke. "It started the night my father died." The air shifted again. Emma felt it instantly. That same heavy pressure. But stronger now. Like something was paying attention. "He wasn't sick," Daniel continued slowly. "Not in the way they said. There was nothing wrong with him. No history. No warning." Emma frowned slightly, trying to focus through the fear. "Then what happened?" Daniel's gaze drifted, like he was looking at something far away. "He woke me up that night," he said. "Around 3 a.m. I remember because the clock in the hallway had just stopped." Emma felt a chill run down her spine. "He was standing in my doorway," Daniel continued. "Just standing there. Like Mom was earlier." Emma's stomach twisted. "I asked him what was wrong," Daniel said. "He didn't answer. He just kept staring at me." The lights flickered faintly. Emma's breath became uneven. Then he smiled, Daniel said quietly. Margaret's voice whispered through the darkness. The same smile. Daniel ignored it. "It wasn't normal," he continued. "It was too wide. Too still. Like it didn't belong on his face." Emma felt her hands shaking again. "What did you do?" she asked. "I got up," Daniel said. "I walked toward him. I thought maybe he was sleepwalking or something." His voice dropped. "But when I got close, I realized something was wrong. The temperature in the room seemed to drop." "What?" Emma whispered. Daniel's jaw tightened. He wasn't breathing. Emma's eyes widened. "But he was standing," she said. Daniel nodded slowly. And then, he hesitated. "Then what?" Daniel's voice became quieter. Then he spoke. Margaret's whisper overlapped. Not his voice. Emma felt her chest tighten painfully. "What did he say?" Daniel looked at her. And, for a second, there was fear in his eyes again. He said, "It's your turn." Emma felt something twist inside her. A sharp, cold sensation. Like ice spreading through her veins. "No," she whispered. "I didn't understand," Daniel continued. "I thought he was joking or..." His voice broke slightly. But then he grabbed me. The lights flickered violently. Emma flinched. "His hands were cold," Daniel said. "Not just cold, wrong. Like there was nothing alive in them." Emma's breathing became shallow. "I tried to pull away," Daniel said. "But he was stronger than he should have been. Way stronger." Margaret's voice whispered again. "It needed him." Daniel closed his eyes briefly. "And then I felt it." Emma's voice was barely audible. "Felt what?" Daniel looked at her. "Something moving." Emma's stomach dropped. "Inside me." Silence. Heavy. Unbearable. Emma shook her head slowly. "No, that's not possible." "I thought I was dying," Daniel said. "I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I could feel it spreading through me, like something was taking space." Emma stepped back instinctively. "And then," she asked, Daniel's voice turned hollow. My father collapsed. The lights steadied for a moment. He just dropped, Daniel said. Like whatever was holding him up was gone. Emma swallowed hard. And you? She asked. Daniel didn't answer immediately. Emma felt her heart racing faster. Daniel. He looked at her. I was fine. The word felt wrong. Very wrong. Emma's chest tightened again. That's not fine, she whispered. I know, he said quietly. Margaret's voice echoed again. That's when it began. Emma pressed her hands against her chest. The cold feeling was stronger now. Deeper. What happened after that? She asked. Daniel shook his head slightly. Nothing, at first, he said. Everything went back to normal. Or at least, it looked like it did. Emma's breathing was uneven. But it didn't. No, Daniel said. It didn't. The house creaked softly. Like it was remembering. I started noticing things, Daniel continued. Small things. Reflections that didn't match. Shadows that moved when they shouldn't. Emma's eyes flickered toward the mirror again. Instinctively. Fearfully. And then, Daniel paused. Emma waited. It started talking. Emma froze. What do you mean, talking? Daniel's expression darkened. Not out loud, he said. Inside my head. Emma felt her stomach drop. No. It sounded like me at first, Daniel said. Like my own thoughts. But then, it changed. Margaret whispered softly. It learned. Emma's hands trembled. What did it say? She asked. Daniel hesitated. Things I didn't want to think, he said. Things I didn't feel. Emma's chest tightened. It told me to push people away, he continued. To isolate. To keep distance. Emma's eyes widened slightly. That's why you didn't tell me, she said. Daniel nodded slowly. I thought if I stayed alone, it wouldn't grow. Margaret laughed softly. You thought you could starve it. Emma shook her head. But then I came into your life. Daniel's silence confirmed it. And it got stronger, Emma whispered. Yes. The word hit her harder than anything else. The cold inside her chest spread further. Faster. More noticeable now. Emma gasped slightly, grabbing onto the edge of the table. It's happening again, she whispered. Daniel stepped toward her quickly. Emma. Don't touch me, she snapped, panic rising. What if it spreads more? It doesn't work like that. How do you know? She shouted. Silence. Daniel didn't answer. Margaret did. It already touched her, she said softly. Emma's eyes widened. That's enough. Emma shook her head violently. No, 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 no. Her breathing became erratic. I can feel it. Of course you can, Margaret said calmly. That's how it begins. Emma looked at Daniel desperately. You said it didn't take you. It didn't, he said quickly. Not fully. Emma froze. Not fully. Daniel's face tightened. I can still fight it, he said. Most of the time. Most of the time? Emma repeated, fear creeping into her voice. Margaret stepped out of the shadows again. This time. Closer than ever. It gets harder, she said. The longer it stays. Emma stared at her. Why are you helping it? Margaret smiled faintly. I'm not helping it, she said. I'm containing it. Emma blinked. What? Daniel looked at his mother. You said you could control it. I can, Margaret said calmly. Emma's voice trembled. Then stop it. Margaret's eyes shifted toward her. Cold. Empty. No. Emma felt her chest tighten painfully. Why not? Margaret stepped closer. And whispered. Because it chose you. Emma's breath stopped. No. Yes, Margaret said softly. And it doesn't let go. Daniel shook his head. You're lying. Margaret looked at him. You felt it, didn't you? She said. The moment it touched her. Daniel didn't respond. That silence was the answer. Emma's heart dropped. You knew, she whispered. You knew it would come for me. I didn't know. Daniel said quickly. I was trying to protect you. But you didn't, Emma said. Her voice broke. You brought me into this. The cold inside her spread further. Reaching her arms now. Her fingers. Emma gasped softly. Daniel. He stepped forward again, more desperate this time. Fight it, he said. Don't listen to it. I can't. Yes, you can. Margaret's voice cut through sharply. No, she can't. Both of them turned toward her. It doesn't work that way, she said calmly. Emma shook her head weakly. Then how does it work? Margaret smiled faintly. It chooses, she said. And once it does, the lights flickered again. Harder this time. And then, Margaret's expression changed. Completely. Her smile widened unnaturally. Her eyes darkened. And when she spoke, her voice wasn't hers anymore. It stays. Emma felt something snap inside her chest. A sharp, overwhelming surge of cold energy spread through her body. Her vision blurred. Her breathing stopped for a second. Emma, Daniel shouted. But she couldn't respond. Because in that moment, she heard it. Clear. Loud. Inside her head. A voice. Not hers. Not Margaret's. Not Daniel's. Something else. Something older. Something patient. Something that had been waiting. Finally, Emma's eyes widened in terror. And she realized, it wasn't just inside the house anymore. It was inside her. Emma couldn't move. Her body was still standing, still breathing, but something inside her had shifted in a way she couldn't control. The voice echoed again. Not outside. Not around her. Inside. Finally, her fingers twitched slightly, but not because she told them to. It felt separate. Like her body didn't fully belong to her anymore. Emma. Daniel's voice sounded distant, stretched, like it was coming from underwater. She tried to respond. Tried to say his name. But her lips didn't move. Instead, she smiled. A slow, unnatural smile that spread across her face without her permission. Daniel froze. No, he whispered. Margaret watched silently. Not surprised. Not shocked. Just watching. It found her, she said quietly. Emma screamed inside her own mind. Stop. Stop. But the voice responded. Calm. Unbothered. You're loud. Her head tilted slightly to the side. Again, not her choice. You'll get used to it. Emma felt panic surge through her. She tried to move her hands. Tried to step back. Nothing. Her body stood still. Perfectly still. Like something else was holding the controls. Emma, fight it. Daniel shouted, stepping toward her carefully. Her eyes moved. Locked onto him. But they didn't feel like hers anymore. There was something behind them now. Watching. Studying. Interesting, the voice said softly. Her lips moved with it. Daniel flinched. That's not her, he said. No, Margaret replied calmly. Not anymore. Emma screamed again inside her mind. I'm still here. The voice paused for a moment. Then, a quiet, almost amused response. Barely. Her body took a step forward. Smooth. Controlled. Not like her normal movement. Daniel stepped back instinctively. Stay away from me, he said, his voice shaking. Emma's head tilted again. You don't mean that. The tone wasn't hers. It was layered. Like two voices speaking through one mouth. Daniel's hands trembled. Emma, please. The entity smiled wider. She's listening, it said. She just can't do anything. Emma felt tears forming in her eyes. But even that didn't feel fully hers. Let her go, Daniel said. The entity's expression shifted slightly. Why? It asked calmly. Because she didn't do anything. She did, it replied. She cared. Emma felt that word hit her hard. Cared. You invited this, the voice continued. Both of you. Daniel shook his head. Take me instead. Margaret's eyes flickered slightly. Emma felt something shift inside her at those words. A reaction. Small. But real. The entity noticed. Ah, it whispered. Still trying to protect her. Daniel stepped closer, more desperate now. You started with me. Finish it with me. Emma screamed inside. No. The entity went quiet for a second. Thinking. Then, her body took another step forward. Slow. Deliberate. You misunderstand, it said. I don't finish things. Daniel frowned. What? I continue them. Emma felt the cold inside her deepen. Spreading further. Reaching her chest, her throat. I was in him, the entity said calmly. For a long time, Daniel's breathing became uneven. I learned him. A pause. And now, Emma's hand slowly lifted, pointing at Daniel. I'm learning her. Emma fought harder. Pushing. Straining. Trying to regain even the smallest bit of control. Her fingers trembled. Just slightly. The entity noticed. Still resisting, it said softly. Margaret stepped forward slightly. Don't fight it, she said. Emma's head snapped toward her. The movement sharp. Unnatural. Why not? The entity asked, using Emma's voice. Margaret met its gaze. Because resistance makes it stronger, she said. Emma froze internally. What? Daniel looked confused. That doesn't make any sense. It feeds on conflict, Margaret explained. On emotional resistance. Fear. Attachment. Emma felt her chest tighten. Every emotion she was feeling. Fear. Panic. Love. It was all feeding it. The entity smiled again. She's right, it said. You're helping me. Emma tried to calm herself. Tried to stop reacting. But how do you stay calm when you're losing control of your own body? You see, the entity continued. Even now, she's trying. Her lips curved slightly. It doesn't matter. Suddenly, Emma's body moved faster. She lunged forward. Daniel barely reacted in time, stepping back as her hand reached toward his throat. But she stopped. Mid-motion. Her arm froze in the air. Shaking. Violently. Emma was fighting. Hard. Emma. Daniel shouted. Her fingers twitched. Pulled back slightly. The entity's voice dropped. Colder now. You're making this difficult. Emma forced her arm back another inch. Pain shot through her body. Not physical. Something deeper. Like her mind was tearing itself apart. Don't touch him, she managed to whisper. The words barely came out. But they were hers. Daniel's eyes widened. Emma. The entity snapped. Her arm jerked forward again. Faster. Stronger. This time grabbing Daniel's collar, slamming him against the wall. Enough. The voice wasn't layered anymore. It was dominant. Full control. Emma screamed inside her head. Please stop. But the response came instantly. You had your turn. Daniel struggled slightly. You think this is control? The entity leaned closer. No, it said calmly. This is balance. Margaret watched carefully. Waiting. Calculating. Let him go, she said. The entity didn't move. Or what? It asked. Margaret lifted something slowly from her pocket. A small, dark object. A box. Emma felt something shift again. Inside. A reaction. Strong. Immediate. The entity noticed too. Her grip on Daniel tightened. What is that? It asked. Margaret's expression remained calm. Your end. The room went silent. Heavy. Tense. Emma felt the cold inside her pulse violently. The entity's voice lowered. You can't destroy me. I know, Margaret said. But I can move you. Emma's heart pounded faster. Move? The entity's grip loosened slightly. Just enough for Daniel to breathe. And where would you move me? It asked. Margaret stepped closer. To where you belong. Emma felt a strange pull. Like something inside her was being drawn toward the box. No, the entity whispered. For the first time. There was hesitation. You've done this before, it said. Margaret didn't respond. But her silence confirmed it. Emma's mind raced. She knows how to stop it. The entity reacted instantly. Her head snapped back unnaturally. Eyes wide. Don't. Margaret stepped closer. You said it yourself, she replied. You don't end things. Another step. I do. Emma felt her body start to tremble again. Not from her. From it. The entity was reacting. Panicking. You'll kill her, it said. No, Margaret replied calmly. I'll save her. Emma held on to that. Save me. The entity's grip on Daniel suddenly released. He dropped to the floor, gasping. Emma's body stepped back. Fast. Creating distance. Smart. Strategic. You won't do it, the entity said. Margaret stopped. Just a few feet away. Watch me. Emma felt the pull stronger now. The box. It was pulling something out of her. Or trying to. The entity fought back. Hard. Her body jerked violently. Her hands clutching her head. Emma screamed out loud this time. Make it stop. Her voice. Finally. But only for a second. Then. The entity surged again. Stronger. Angrier. You think you can trap me again? It shouted. Again. Emma caught that word. Again. Margaret's eyes didn't move. Yes. The lights flickered wildly. The house shook slightly. Something was breaking. Not just physically. Something deeper. Emma felt like she was being pulled in two directions. One force dragging her inward. The other pulling something out. Her vision blurred. Her body collapsed to her knees. Daniel crawled toward her. Emma, don't come closer. Margaret shouted. He stopped. Frozen. Emma looked up. Her vision flickering. Margaret stood there. Holding the box. Ready. The entity screamed inside her head. A sound that didn't feel human. Didn't sound human. Something ancient. Something furious. This isn't over. Emma felt herself slipping. Losing strength. Losing control. But just before everything went dark, she heard one last whisper. Close. Cold. Certain. I'm not leaving. And then, everything went black. Darkness didn't feel empty. It felt crowded. Emma couldn't see anything, couldn't hear anything clearly, but she could feel it. Something was still there. Close. Too close. For a moment, she thought she was dead. Or worse. Gone. Then slowly. A sound. Faint. Distant. Emma. Daniel. Her mind clung to the voice like it was the only solid thing left. Emma, wake up, please. Her chest rose sharply as air rushed back into her lungs. Her eyes opened suddenly, light stabbing into them. Everything was blurry at first. Shapes. Movement. Then, Daniel. Right in front of her. His face pale, eyes wide, filled with fear. You're okay, you're okay, he kept repeating like he was trying to convince himself. Emma blinked rapidly, her breathing uneven. I. Her voice felt weak. Heavy. Like it didn't belong to her completely. She tried to sit up. Daniel helped her carefully. Take it slow, he said. The room came into focus. The living room. The same house. But something was different. The air. It wasn't heavy anymore. The pressure was gone. The silence felt normal. Emma's heart started racing again. Where is she? She asked. Daniel hesitated. Emma's stomach dropped instantly. Daniel. He looked at her. She's gone. The words felt too simple. Too easy. Gone. Emma repeated. What do you mean gone? Daniel swallowed. After you passed out, it got worse. The house started reacting. Lights breaking, walls cracking. Emma listened carefully, her chest tightening again. And my mom, he continued, his voice quieter now. She used the box. Emma's eyes widened slightly. The box. Daniel nodded slowly. She forced it out of you. Emma felt something shift in her chest. A memory. A sensation. That pulling feeling. What happened to it? She asked. Daniel didn't answer immediately. That silence. It felt familiar now. Dangerous. Daniel, she said more firmly. He looked away. She trapped it. Emma exhaled slightly. Relief. Small. Fragile. Where is it now? Daniel hesitated again. Then, she took it. Emma frowned. Took it where? I don't know, he said. She just left. Emma stared at him. She left? Just like that. Daniel nodded. She said it wasn't safe here anymore. The room fell silent. Emma wrapped her arms around herself. Her body still felt off. Not like before. But not completely normal either. Do you feel it? Daniel asked quietly. Emma froze. That question. It hit something deep inside her. She focused. Carefully. Listening to her own body. Her thoughts. Her breathing. For a moment. Nothing. Just silence. No, she whispered. I think it's gone. Daniel nodded slowly, but something in his expression didn't fully match relief. More like uncertainty. Hours passed. Then night came again. Emma didn't want to sleep. She stayed on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, staring at nothing. Daniel stayed nearby. Neither of them spoke much. What do you say after something like that? At some point. Exhaustion won. Emma's eyes closed. And for the first time since it all started, she slept. Deeply. Peacefully. Or at least, it felt that way. Until. Click. Emma's eyes snapped open. The room was dark. The clock on the wall read 3 a.m. Her heart immediately started pounding. No, she whispered. The air felt different again. Not as heavy as before. But not right either. She sat up slowly. Listening. Silence. Too quiet. Emma swallowed hard. Daniel? No response. She stood up carefully, her legs slightly shaky. Daniel, she called again. Still nothing. A cold feeling crept up her spine. She moved toward the hallway. Each step slow. Careful. The floor creaked softly beneath her feet. The house felt empty. But not in a comforting way. In a watching way. She reached the hallway. The same one. The same place Daniel had described. The clock. It was there. And it had stopped. Emma's breath caught in her throat. No. A sound came from behind her. Soft. Barely there. She turned quickly. Nothing. Her heart raced faster. I'm imagining this. I'm imagining this, she whispered to herself. Then, another sound. Closer this time. From the living room. Emma hesitated. Every instinct told her not to go. But something else. Something deeper. Pulled her forward. She stepped slowly toward the living room. The darkness felt thicker there. Heavier. Her breathing became shallow. And then, she saw it. On the table. The box. Emma froze. Her mind refused to process it. No. Her voice trembled. That's not possible. She stepped closer. Slowly. Carefully. The box was exactly the same. Dark. Still. Silent. Her hands started shaking. She took it, Emma whispered. She took it. But it was here. Right in front of her. A cold wave passed through her chest. Faint. But familiar. Emma stepped back instantly. No, no, no. Her breathing became uneven again. Something wasn't right. Something wasn't finished. A small sound came from behind her. Emma turned quickly. Daniel stood there. In the doorway. Watching her. Daniel, she whispered. But something felt wrong. Again. He wasn't moving. Not blinking. Just standing there. The same way his father had. The same way Margaret had. Emma's stomach dropped. Daniel, she said again, her voice weaker now. Slowly. He smiled. Emma's heart stopped. No. The smile spread wider. Too wide. Too still. Exactly the same. It's your turn. The words echoed in her mind before he even spoke them. Emma stepped back. Her body trembling. You said it was gone, she whispered. Daniel tilted his head slightly. And when he spoke, it wasn't just his voice. It never leaves. Emma felt the cold return instantly. Stronger than before. Faster. Deeper. No. I felt it leave. The entity laughed softly. Through him. You felt what I wanted you to feel. Emma shook her head desperately. No. Margaret trapped you. She moved me, it corrected calmly. Emma froze. Moved. Not destroyed. Her eyes slowly shifted back toward the box. And that's when she saw it. The writing. It hadn't been there before. But now. Clear. Scratched into the surface. It followed me. Emma's breath caught. Margaret. She didn't take it away. She brought it somewhere else. And it came back. Or worse. It didn't need the box anymore. You understand now, the entity said. Emma looked back at Daniel. Tears filled her eyes. You used me. A small pause. Then. Yes. Her chest tightened painfully. It needed a way out, the voice continued. A way to move freely. Emma's mind raced. No, no, that means. It's not trapped anymore. The room felt colder. Darker. Like the house itself had changed again. Like it had accepted something new. Something permanent. Daniel took a step forward. Emma stepped back. You're not him, she whispered. The entity smiled. He's still here. Emma's heart broke at those words. Help me, she whispered. For a split second. Something flickered in his eyes. Weak. Fading. Run, he whispered. Emma's breath caught. Daniel. The moment disappeared. The entity took over again. Fully. Too late. Emma turned and ran. Not thinking. Not stopping. She reached the front door. Unlocked it. Pulled it open. And stepped outside. The cold night air hit her instantly. She didn't stop running. Didn't look back. Didn't breathe properly until she was far. Far away from the house. From him. From it. Hours later. She stopped. Collapsed on the side of the road. Her body shaking. Her mind broken. But alive. Days passed. Then weeks. Emma never went back. Never answered Daniel's calls. Never looked for Margaret. Some things are better left alone. But sometimes they don't leave you alone. One night, weeks later, Emma sat in her new apartment. Quiet. Safe. Or at least, she thought it was. She reached for a glass of water. Her hands steady now. Her breathing normal. For the first time, everything felt okay. Until she passed the mirror. And stopped. Slowly. Very slowly. She looked at her reflection. Everything seemed normal. At first. Then, the reflection smiled. Emma didn't. Her heart stopped. And the voice returned. Soft. Cold. Right behind her thoughts. Did you really think you escaped? Emma's eyes widened in horror. Because this time, she didn't feel it entering. She didn't feel it taking over. It was already there. Waiting. Quiet. Patient. And now, it didn't need permission.